Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to introduce you to my father, the redneck brain doctor, Joe Brazeal.
Thank you very much, John the cameraman, for that introduction. And I'm glad that y'all are here this evening. We've got a lot to talk about, and it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be just a little bit of time before we get to cover everything. In the meantime, we're going to do our best. A couple of things I'd like to start off with. I'm hoping that you've seen the previous videos. We got two. This is the third one. And with those, you should have a kind of a foundation now of what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is we're trying to shame these doctors and psychologists and whoever they are into rethinking how they're evaluating treatment and what they're telling people how to deal with Alzheimer's or dementia, whatever they call it. It's still kind of the same thing. And it all begins with the mind. Everything begins with the mind. In my last video, I told you about input and output. Everything has to do with input and output. The next thing I want to tell you is just as important as that is blood flow. And when I say blood flow, I'm talking about, you have a pulse. That's one way that we tell you they tell you if you're alive or not. You got a pulse. That's an indicator that you're alive or dead. The next indicator that I want to talk to you is about the other blood that goes through your body that you may not know too much about. And I want to direct our attention over here to this. This right here. This, as I told you, represented the CSF fluid in your brain. The CSF is cerebral spinal fluid. And I learned something today. I'm not a professional doctor or anything. John calls me the redneck brain doctor. Okay, I'll take it. But I've learned from experience by living with somebody that had Alzheimer's for 15 years. And of course, I've had relatives with Alzheimer's. And there's not much known about the brain, really, if you think about it. They know more about the Canova virus than they know about the brain. So back to what I'm saying. It gets created 650 milliliters throughout the day, or 500. And it starts up here and it circles through. Now, what I want to talk to you about is the pressure. Just like you have blood pressure, I believe there's cerebral spinal fluid pressure. You may have heard diseases like meningitis, and there's all other kind of things that can block the flow. With that said, let's think about that for a minute. What a normal flow is of that. One of the things that I propose or have offered is to be able to come out to churches or community centers or wherever you'd like me to and give my talk. I have a talk that I give about how to caregive and survive caregiving. In case you didn't know, caregiving will kill you. And if you're not prepared for it, when it's all over, if you survive it, 65% of those that are caregiving die before the person they're taking care of. But here are the 4 things that deals with caregiving, successful caregiving, and I call it common sense or brain sense. There's continuous learning. Let me back up. Stress management, it's in order. Stress management, exercise, nutrition, and continuous learning. Now, each 4 of those represent the wheel on an automobile, and you can be out of balance on one and still get to where you want to go. But without a wheel, you're going to be kind of dragging the rear end, or you're not going to be able to go straight, that kind of thing. Last night it occurred to me that there's a 5th wheel, and that's the steering wheel. I would call that environment. Because if you sleep, if you got pollen, if you got pollutants, if you got things too cold, that's an environment. And I found out last night, I got to thinking if your humidity is drying you out, then you need to get a humidifier. So things like that. Circling back, because I was contacted by Miss Lisa and Gabriel about an excellent opportunity I'd like to share with you called, and I'm just all in 100%. Think about it. Every January, people have that idea. I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to join the gym. A lot of people do, and then they get in that routine, that habit, and they do fine. Some of them fall off the wagon, and then they'll get back on again the next year. But what I'm saying is that usually they pay a gym membership, some sort of fee for that exercise. I'll have more information about this company on my YouTube channel, but in the meantime, what they do is they exercise your brain. So just because you're exercising your body, you're not exercising your brain. You may have the blood flow for the body, but you don't have the brain flow of the CSF fluid. If you don't have the brain flow of the CSF fluid, who knows what's going on up there? I don't know. I just know the basic components of how the CSF fluid flows. But what if it gets stopped up because you're not doing anything with your head? You're not thinking. You're not doing any puzzles. So they put me through a 2-hour program, and at the end of it, Mr. Gabriel, he said, "Well, how do you feel?" I'm telling you, I was invigorated. It was amazing. It's like all of these puzzles that come on the screen, and it starts off, and then it basically exercises all parts of your brain, and I'm for real, it does that. And I want to encourage y'all to consider checking out their website or looking more into doing puzzles and things like that in your life so that you can exercise your brain. By exercising your brain, you're going to have opportunity to have a new life, a new lease on life. So remember, exercise, nutrition, continuous learning, and stress management. And then last thing is the environment. You know, your air filters are clogged up in your house. If you're not changing your air filter, if you're not keeping your temperature at a reasonable, or your humidity is too low, those are factors that can affect brain health. So there are 5 wheels. That's about all I got today. We'll talk again sometime. In the meantime, go to the YouTube channel, and I would encourage you to check out neuroscience. That's all.
I got it. Y'all have a good night. Thank you for paying attention to my dad's channel and his videos. They mean a lot to him, and they mean a lot to me. Y'all have a very good evening.
We'll be back again.
We'll be back again.